So we got Dorado.
I tend to sound.
Turn this down a little bit.
When I was younger, I.
What was that? Oh, that was the recording.
For the last
So we got
fight.
Cat is flexing main tank. He doesn't. He said he doesn't usually play main tank, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all right.
And we had
Noted.
the Zarya as an extra.
Oh yeah, Quip. I don't know them at all.
Yeah,
Is it just
he
a
was
ringer that we got in?
He was a friend of Mr. Cat, I think.
Okay.
Just to help us out so I could record.
Fair enough. So, I mean, really, I guess I'll just kind of go over like the general strategy for Dorado here and maybe some of the comms. But again, both of our tanks are different, so I don't know.
We did kind of poor on this map.
Yeah.
We weren't warmed
Which,
up for
I mean, I would
communicating
expect.
well
Yeah.
for the situation.
Yeah, like going forward, I mean, I would really ideally like to have, just generally speaking, Sleepy doing most of the shot calling. Specifically referring to once a fight is near over, I want him referring to the alts, like alt tracking the enemy team alts. Like, okay, that fight they used Shatter, so they probably still have Grav, they have a Nano, they have a Nano Blade, whatever. Like, we need to be realizing what they're going to do, and then we need to be talking about what we're going to do about the enemy's alts. So that's the comms that I want Sleepy to be doing in between fights. And then everybody, of course, is welcome to contribute. Like if he's like, did they use Nano Blade, whatever, you know. But I want that to be his main role. During fights, I want one of our tanks, so either Tank Lover, Bluffington, or Genie, calling targets mid-fight. That was one of the biggest issues from the scrims last night, is nobody was really taking over that target caller role, except for in Busan, which it got a lot smoother. So, but yeah, just generally speaking, this map is going to be, I don't know. We'll probably talk more about general Dorado strategy here than comms, just because we're filling in a lot. So yeah, this is perfect. Holding on the high ground here. Comp-wise, I'm 100% down with it. There's a lot of different comps that can work, especially for first point Dorado. Second point, you almost always want to go dive, but first point, Ryan Zarya's perfectly fine.
Okay, let's rotate.
So more than 15 seconds has passed. We see their comp. We see what they have. They're running a Mei. They've got the Ryan Zarya Brig. Since they have the Mei as well, and we're running the Widow Junkrat, ideally we want to be playing a little bit farther back and not extremely frontlining their tanks, because they have a more aggressive front line and they can cut people off with the Mei. So ideally we want to be playing the longer distance, utilizing the spam from the Junkrat. Vinny, of course, is bound to get some picks. So these are the kind of things that I want, I guess, Sleepy to mostly be talking about. Like, once we realize the comp that we have, how that works against the enemy team's composition. So, let's move forward. We pin their Rhine, awesome. Once we do that, it looks like he got cut out. So we get their Rhine down first. They blow their wall, their Mei wall. As soon as they blow the Mei wall, even though we're one down, I would like everybody to get pretty aggressive here because they lost their main tank. We still have our main tank. Even though we lost the Brig, we can still get a little bit aggressive and stagger these picks a little bit. But I think since we lost the Brig, we slowed down.
Okay, let's hold the choke. Stay on there, stay on point.
So this is perfect, the way we're setting up here. Exactly like I was talking about. We're playing longer ranges. We're not getting extremely aggressive on the front line. We're kind of just letting ourselves poke down the enemy team, which is perfect. I mean, I know Cat's not our main tank anyway, but I would probably play a little bit farther back. I guess this is fine, because you can't really get cut off by the wall. But worst case scenario, you get walled in.
Push.
Heal it on the back if you can.
I can't. Rick, turn around and heal him. Go ahead, I'll nano you. Brick stun, shatter.
Oh shoot. You said that last
What is happening here? Okay. So yeah, we go for a shatter, even though the tire's coming in. There was no real discussion here. Rajit, I know you can't really hear comms, but I'm recording
Yeah,
the
it's
video
fine.
and they can. There was no real discussion about what alts we're going to use. We kind of just pop tire. And then we push up and we go ahead and pop shatter. The shatter, I don't think, got anything.
Sorry,
Get the hard off.
So just like thinking ahead, what alts we're going to use, that kind of needs to be planned out ahead of time. So once they were pushing up and we decided to use tire, let's see.
Stun shatter, brick stun shatter.
Oh, actually, we call out for a stun shatter. That's what happened here. Let's see.
Go ahead, I'll nano you.
Go ahead, I'll nano you. Talking
Brick
to
stun,
Ryan.
brick stun shatter, brick stun shatter.
Brig stun and shatter. Can't really
Oh,
tell.
You said that last second. Left. Sorry, my
Get the
bad.
hard off. Get the hard out.
Back up, we're good.
Yes, this worked out.
Made it.
Well.
I have no shield. I have no
Can I
shield.
get some heals here?
My shield is literally one.
I really like that, like, bomb.
Can I get some heals here?
Can someone
I'm
heal
not just went over this.
Heal junk.
Can you heal Anna?
I have
I'm
a
gonna throw a
grab.
nade.
We're gonna throw a grab.
So again, we're doing exactly what we need to be doing. We're kind of playing the distance here,
Go ahead.
waiting for an
Shield
opportunity.
Shield
No,
down.
push.
We didn't really call that grav, that we're going to use it or anything.
Break that.
Okay, Anna,
Oh my god,
Works
I'm
out anyway.
actually
Take off the
insane.
turn
Predict. Oh, can you get out of
Ash
there?
is dead.
Dude, I'm very low and I'm
How did our Rhine go down? It's a little blurry.
Yeah, sorry about the
It's
quality.
fine. It's all good.
Oh, can you get out of there?
How did he die?
Break that.
Okay, Anna,
Oh my god,
So we
I'm
grab-
actually
Take off the
insane.
shirt off.
Where is Ryan?
Predict.
I think he's like swinging up here. I think he's kind of pushed up a little far.
Yeah.
Because that's their Bob, right? So I think he's getting shredded by Bob right now is what's
Oh,
happening.
can you get out of
Ash
there?
is dead.
Dude, I'm very low
It's
and
unfortunate.
I can't see you, Vinny.
Sorry, and Ash dead.
We win it
Alright,
anyway.
nice.
Just
Your
click
main
their
tank's
heads,
gone right now.
lol.
We can go back.
Okay, let's
What? I just lost connection.
Then it
No.
was. So, we had some sort of issue. I think someone DC'd.
Yeah, I think Vinny said he lost
I'm
connection.
back. I'm back.
Yeah, but
Oh, on DC.
what do you mean ready?
I'm here.
It paused. We don't know what happened. Dorado. It's nothing to do with you, baby.
If no one actually leaves the game, you can just start it up again and hope that he doesn't leave again.
Okay, so I'm
Back up
going
a tiny bit, back up a tiny bit. We're going
Wait, did they use graph here? Did they use graph?
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't.
Okay,
So-
I'm gonna stay farther back, stay spread out, and let Reinhardt tank the grab. Okay, try to absorb it with your shield. Like, if you see him about to throw it, just fucking take it like a man.
If we survive the
Go ahead and
fall,
wriggle.
or they only kill the lion, I'm going to ult.
Okay, push, Ryan, push.
That's a good block. We still get 2 picks, even though they just used Blizzard, Nano, Tire.
Yeah.
They just used 5 alts.
Sorry, one.
Try one.
Right heal.
So we're 2 up right here. We get their May and the Brig. This is when the tank line with the Brig gets like hyper aggressive on their front line. Because now we have the advantage and we don't have the threat of the May blocking us off. They have a Junkrat, but like they don't have a ton of damage outside of that. Like we can really shred down their front line here if we get aggressive. They have the Grav still. But I mean, if we like nade into it, we can probably out-sustain it, honestly. Unless the Junk has like a really good angle where he can get like 2 mines into it. They just don't have the follow-up damage to get in here. So yeah, we're kind of pushing up on him. We'll wipe him here.
Push him.
I'm stuck.
Okay, push him. Okay, back up.
It looks like you guys might full hold this, honestly. I mean, there's 40 seconds left, and if we're ult tracking correctly, we should know that they only have Grav and maybe close to a tire because, you know, Junkrat gets ults every fight, of course.
The poor Reinhardt's just gonna sit there.
Buffington! No way! I'm totally good!
Nice job, guys.
Because
Okay, back up, Vinny.
We reset positions,
doesn't
perfect.
die from anything.
I'm at 65 on grab. I'm gonna shut it up right here.
Alright, I'm anti-dumping out of here. Ryan's headshot.
Okay, I'm gonna flank here. On the armor.
Okay, so Tank wants to flank the Ana.
They found me. They found me.
Yeah, so he's kind of holding up here to flank.
Go. Push up,
I'm
push
slow.
up.
So instead of doing this, and I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just throwing this into the wind, but generally speaking, I know you're not usually our big player, but generally speaking, instead of going for like a flank play or something like that and trying to drop down on their backline, you want to set up the stun shatter, because I mean we have shatter, they have a Zarya, but if you can bait out the personal bubble to where you can stun shatter and not get punished for it, I mean it's an easy fight win, especially since like you just have to wipe them once. There's only 13 seconds on the clock, but let's see how it goes. They block our shatter.
You're watching.
We win it anyway. I thought you said you guys did badly this map.
It's all part
I
of
got
the
this, I got two support.
Reset and did poorly. I forget what it is.
Oh, okay. Maybe you get full held as well.
Yeah, something.
Who needs a main roster when you can just troll them? What rank was this?
Oh, I think we put in our actual roster. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, then we're helping people.
And then we do poorly. Oh, you will only paid half of that map anyway. Well, that actually went pretty well, generally speaking, to be honest with you. Y'all kind of rolled them there. Alright, let's see.
Or did I not
Wait, we all
record the beginning? But will we?
That was the beginning of the map, unless they reset it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Because I know we played attack.
I mean, did I skip over it? I don't think so. Yeah, it's the end of the defense, and then it swaps to, wait.
Busan,
Yeah.
Nepal, in the Discord.
Let me just go to Nepal. Oh well, that's alright.
Ryan Zarya with do you want to do? We're doing goats. Or are we doing
Well, I would. Wait, goats is 4 tanks.
no 3. Do you do more? I'll do. Let's push it up. Go.
I played that. I
Alright,
played that.
so let's see our rollout here.
Claire. Mora.
Moria? I can't hear you guys. Everybody's talking at once.
Yeah, so Claire's like, oh wait, you want Moira? Okay, I couldn't hear because everybody's talking at once. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just be more clear. I mean, that won't really be an issue going forward because like I said the other day, I'm working through that document. I'm going to be filling it out this week with comps for every map so that we always have an initial rollout, and then slowly but surely we'll start filling out once we have the initial rollouts, I'm going to have maybe like substitutions or kind of general strategies for countering certain other comps. So if you guys get hard countered and our rollout is a goats, you kind of have an idea of what to switch to if you are getting hard countered. So
Holy shit.
We need to all talk at once about the same thing. Okay, let's push it up. Go.
all right, but we got it here. We're set up with goats, perfectly fine. We want to run the goats straight into them. That's the benefit of goats. They're exactly mirroring our goats.
Punish this Ryan if you can. Punish the Ryan.
Charge him. Why not?
I'm clear news, guys.
Ryan, I almost have heal for you.
So that was awesome. That's pretty much exactly like an ideal way that we want the goats v goats matchup to work out. If you're running straight goats v goats, like exact mirror comps like this, the best strategy is to actually try to target their main tank. So, which is exactly what we did. I mean, that was awesome.
We push.
Pretty much exactly what we want to be doing is focusing down their main tank, and then after that, typically once a main tank goes down, if they still have their Lucio up, the other team speeds out to get out of the fight, so that they could reset as fast as humanly possible. So if that's happening to us and we're running the goats v goats and our main tank goes down, or they get like a pick and we don't have a pretty clear opportunity to win it. We just want to speed the fuck out and get as many fights in as we can. So, and just take the next one. That's what you'll see all the pro teams doing. So they don't do that. They want to keep fighting, which is the wrong decision. So we won that. I probably would have wanted to save Transcendence here. We didn't really need to win it. We got their Rhine and we demech the Diva, and then we popped Coalescence. So we would have won it without that, I think. So Bluffington here is taking a super vocal comms role with calling targets. Awesome. It doesn't really matter if it's you, Bluffington, or if it's Genie when we have him on main tank next. It doesn't really matter who does it. I just want somebody to take the initiative. And what you're doing right here, just screaming out the targets, that's exactly what we need to be doing. Because with goats, the benefit here, especially playing goats v goats, is you shred the same target all at the same time. Because you don't have quite as much like burst damage as the, if you had like a Widow or something. You have to focus targets down as a team.
Where you fade?
Holy shit, we shot him, man.
But perfect. Yes, you did shatter them.
I'm gonna check the high ground.
Okay, so right here, the fight's over. I'm not going to let him talk yet. What I want to hear is, Sleepy, I want you talking about, okay, did they use any ults that fight? No, obviously they didn't use any ults that fight. What else do we have? What do we want to use in this next fight? So we're almost 90 on Diva Bomb. We're 60 on Grav. We'll probably get both of these through the course of the next fight. The ideal situation here is we get a Stun Shatter. Now, the best way to set up a Stun Shatter is, again, to bait out the Zarya bubble so that so you kind of fight, you poke, you stay alive, you bait out their projected bubble so that they can't bubble their Reinhardt, and then you stun and you shatter. That's the ideal play that we want to run out here in this situation.
Okay, wait, cat.
Hide shatter, hide shatter, hide shatter. Hide like right here and shatter them.
No. Wait. So because they're running Ryan, cat,
Go in mid, go in
let
mid.
me get bomb. Let me get bomb. I'm about to have it.
Go.
Unlucky. So, yeah, Cat isn't usually our main tank. I'm not going to yell at him too much. He's not like a Rhine player. But flanking shatters, not at this SR. Not at this SR. It just doesn't work. Playing as a team, you're just going to have so much more of an opportunity to win a team fight if you literally just take... Like, Goats comps is like Exodia from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like, it's one giant hero that plays as a group all the time. And you just slowly but surely you use all of the I mean, it just works so well together when you play as a team instead of trying to do like little flanking kind of stuff. You could have just gone for a Stun Shatter and you would have won it here.
Person talk, please.
Let's see what happens. We lose our Brig.
Diva's on point. Diva's
We might win it anyway, I guess. We use a lot of alts here. So just now we used Grav, we used Beat to counter their bomb, I think, is when we used that. It's just an ult fiesta. We're just pressing Q. There's no real planning going on.
We can test this, boys.
And because of our lack of coordination, our lack of planning, they just kind of whittle us down.
Cat.
Plus, they got the first pick, which Goats v Goats, whoever can kill one person from the other team first, you're going to have a pretty significant advantage. All right.
Okay, let's figure.
I have rally next fight, or this fight.
All right, so fight's over. Once again, we're not target calling anymore. We're thinking about the future. So what alts did they just use? What alts are they going to have in the next fight? What are we going to do either to counter their alts, or are we going to take the initiative in some way with the alts that we have? So in this situation, it was kind of hard to track because that fight was really cluttered and stuff. Typically, the more structured a fight is, the easier it is to alt track because the alts really stand out because not everybody's pressing Q at the same time. But in this kind of a situation, we have a rally. If we know that they have a Grav, we should not use rally at the beginning of the fight, because Grav is more than likely going to be a fight-winning ult, especially if they have a combo for it, like a Diva Bomb. We probably want to save our rally here, because more than likely we're going to get wiped this fight. Just because we don't have a lot of alts to counter. We don't have the beat that we can counter with their grav. I would like to see a dry run in with no alts, go in and force them to use grav, like sustain as long as we can for them to use grav, and then the next fight we probably go in with a rally.
Alright.
But right now we're
Let's use it to initiate as soon as we're about to touch them, okay, with our Rhine to their Rhine. Go ahead and activate rally.
yeah. So we're the call was to go ahead and use rally as soon as we're about to start the fight.
Okay, ready? 3.
Which typically is perfectly fine, assuming all things equal. But in this case, they're going to out-alt us more than likely if they play this correctly. They can out-alt us, and then we kind of just lose the rally.
2, 1.
I would expect them to grab early.
Right.
Yep.
Focus Ryan, focus Ryan.
And they easily could have comboed. Just to point this out, they could have grabbed and then comboed it with the Diva Bomb, and then like launched the Diva Bomb right into the middle of the grav, and just shredded us. But they didn't, fortunately, so it works out well.
I got it.
Right.
Ryan, focus him. He can die. The Ryan can die.
But right here, we get super split. We didn't die from it, which is cool. And we just kind of get split. Our Ryan, I think, charges over here. Is that right? How did he get over there?
I got it.
So Cat goes for a pin, which he gets.
Right.
Focus
Oh no, our Ryan.
can die. The Ryan can die.
Okay, yeah, just alts going on all over the place here. But when we're playing goats v goats, you don't really want to charge out of the fight with Rhine, because you're a big source of like the consistent damage when you're swinging into one target.
Captain Ryan.
Yeah,
Sorry, kill Diva.
there's just not a ton of target focus. Kill Diva, kill Diva.
Diva can die.
The moral to
Get Diva back.
I'm almost there, boys.
Yeah. Let's see. So I mean, right at some point here, we probably should have called that the fight was over. I mean, we traded Rhines, I guess.
Diva can die.
the moral to
Get Diva back.
I'm almost there, boys.
Let's get out.
But they're just out healing us.
Where is everyone? Oh,
We accomplished what we did. Just get out.
We got a lot of ults out of them. I'm gonna go pick up our tank. Let's use Diva Bomb.
We got 2 alts out of them.
Try to stun the Reinhardt. Actually, throw the Diva Bomb behind them and then just swing into it, and the Reinhardt will be forced to turn.
I'm probably just gonna put it in the middle.
Rick, keep your eye on Reinhardt. Sir Reinhardt.
I was not paying
And I
attention.
might blink right there.
Well, let's go. Grab.
Okay, so we grab. They beat. They shatter. Unlucky again. Probably save the coalescence. The fight was already. We lost it.
Sorry, Ron.
Go main.
Go main. Grab their attention.
Go main.
Okay. Let's go in with Lucio.
I'm almost there with the rest.
So we try to go main, which is right. We got a touch.
Rally.
Because the clock's ticking down pretty quickly. We beat. But we're not really playing as goats here. Ideally, we want to move in as a group, as like one giant mass, and then just like slowly roll in together to the point. I guess we just kind of sped ahead just because it was like mid-90s and we wanted to touch really quickly. But we want to be playing like a Rhine here with the shield up, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 people, like all just kind of like shooting with the Rhine. Is how you want to set up a fight. And we just kind of staggered in, which I guess it was just because of the time.
Both Divas are Diva.
But they already had ult economy on us as well, unfortunately.
Reinhardt's low. He's down. Lucio's
So
on
it's
wall.
tough for us to win it. But maybe we will anyway.
I'm not using any more ults.
Zarya can die.
Zarya.
Stay point. It's winnable. Get a point, don't C9, don't C9. What was I saying? Mara. You guys just wasted a roll. Diva's gonna get on point right now.
Take it.
Chaser.
Nice call.
All right, so we win it. Awesome. That was another like just all fiesta, just ults going off all over the damn place. Ideally, fights are a little bit more structured. When we're thinking about our alts before fights, this works out a lot better. So we win the point. Awesome. I think everybody's up and at the thing. It's hard to tell. Is Ryan up here already? Oh, they shatter us. That's not good. So we're pushing up too far. I don't think our Ryan is even in the fight. It's hard to tell.
Back up.
Yeah, Ryan's not even up here
Yeah,
yet.
Ryan's not
We
up.
shouldn't be. Yeah, we shouldn't be up here at all. I think you guys were trying to stagger their something. I heard somebody call Tracer or something. I don't know. Y'all were trying to get like a stagger pick, I think, but I mean, I guess it's just an awareness thing. Their Ryan just kind of like shattered us when we pushed up. I mean, if there's an easy pick, then go for it if people are with you. But right here, it didn't look like it was. I didn't have the perfect angle to see exactly what was happening, but I would have preferred people to group up and wait for Reinhardt. Especially, again, if fights are more structured and we know a little bit more what's going on, it's easier to ult track and we would know that their Rein had shatter, so not to push up with him without our Reinhardt there to block it. So, we push up too far. Somehow they shatter. I think our Moira was shattered right here. They managed to not get the pick somehow. And we demech their diva.
I don't have.
So we engage with a charge here. Typically, I don't want to do that, but if this happens, we always want to be fighting with our Reinhardt. We want all of our team fighting with Reinhardt. Ryan is the least mobile out of the group here. So whatever Ryan is swinging into and getting that like 50 damage swing, or having his shield up, we will all want to be focusing on that one target. Obviously with Moira healing in the back. So if Ryan engages with a charge, if he decides that's the right move, then everybody moves up with him, which we slowly do, but not quick enough. That's why you don't want to engage with a charge. You kind of got out of position. And one Ryan versus 6 goats is a no-go.
Not rally.
We use bomb.
You guys can grab. That's huge.
We use bomb instead of trying to combo. Again, we're not planning ahead of time at all. We're just kind of playing solo queue in this map. And yeah, there's just no planning in between fights. So we're just kind of throwing ults out. Ideally, we could have still won that fight even though Ryan was here. Obviously, we didn't have the benefit of the doubt of having time on our hands to be able to reset since we lost Ryan. We have to use ults. We have to try to win the fight. So the right move is probably comboing like Grav Diva Bomb instead of using Diva Bomb to engage here. We use Rally, which is fine, to try to stay up. But even though we don't have... They've got
Sorry,
beat.
over here behind, full charge.
But again, if they had just gotten Lucio Walt right here. You see, he's at 90. He uses it as soon as he gets it. If we had saved bomb, and even though we lost Ryan, if we had pushed up, done a Grav right here, and then slid a Diva Bomb into the Grav, we probably would have won it right before this Lucio gets his beat.
Not rally.
You guys can grab. That's huge. Push on that.
And again, it's hard to put that on an individual player, like to say it's like Bluffington's fault for using it out there. Ideally, we're planning these things out in the downtime. But because we tried to push up for a pick when our Ryan wasn't there, and just all of these things happened, there really wasn't any downtime for us to talk about how to plan out the fights.
Sorry, over here behind, full charge.
Sorry.
And it just kind of turns into, I mean, we're running goats, right? We're running the Exodia comp, and we've got somebody here, somebody here, somebody here, somebody here. Our Ryan's dead. I can't see somebody else because I can't tell, but yeah, this is not how we play goats.
I can try and build it.
So, I mean, the right move here, now that we are in this position here, we have to keep contesting point. So we want to be on point contesting, um, grouped up still. Still, even though we're like 2 down here, grouped up is the only chance that we have for stalling out this point and surviving. But ideally, we want to not engage them as much as we possibly can. So there's hard resets where, like, if a fight is already over, you just like die in a cart so that you can die as fast as possible, or you get out of the fight. That's like a hard reset, just getting the fuck out, regrouping, and then going back in. A soft reset is typically where a fight has kind of devolved. Both teams have kind of gotten picks, but you decide if you stay in, you're probably going to lose. Sometimes you can just kind of regroup as a team in one spot and then kind of, kind of stabilize yourselves. So that's kind of what we need to be doing here. We don't have the ability to hard reset because we would lose because we're not contesting. So we kind of want to soft reset and stabilize this fight and kind of regroup. So the people that we had left, which was Brig a second ago, we had Sleepy, Lucio, Claire is up, and I think Tank Lover was still alive here. Yeah, he's really low somewhere. But whoever we have alive, we want to soft reset and kind of stabilize somewhere. So these are things to think about going forward. Is regrouping, but they grab us. And again, I mean, they had advantage. More than likely, we're going to win that. We just have to give ourselves the best chance possible, which in this case I think would have been trying to soft reset and kind of stabilize ourselves. But, you know, they win it.
Nice try, guys. We got next one.
Hey, trivial.
They win it, and then this is like the first 30 seconds, and then who has to leave on our team? Mr. Cat has to leave, like, out of the blue, so then I swap for him, and then...
Okay.
But then once I did swap, I stopped the recording, because my ping would have been 300.
Yeah.
So.
That's fair.
Go Lucio. Speed Lucius.
Can watch the beginning. It went well.
We'll just talk about the the rollouts here. This is I think this is pretty much exactly the comp that I have written down in that other document for this map. Vinny is such a fucking strong Widow. We definitely want him on Widow here. There's a lot of sightlines to play. So we're the spawn on the right over here. The ideal setup, this can work with the Junkrat. It can work with like a Hanzo. It's kind of just a preference for Taser and or Cat and or Kale, whoever we have in for the second DPS here. Any of them really work though. Junkrat is perfectly fine. Basically, just roll out with your comfort pick, and then counter if you need to. You know how that goes. But the tank line, Rissa Hog, definitely for the rollout. Moira Lucio is 100% fine. The other thing you can do is put Sleepy on Ana and then Claire on Lucio. Honestly, I kind of prefer the Moira Lucio just because it lets the Lucio play a little bit more of like a flanking Lucio when he sees an opportunity to like boop a hog off or something like that. Because a lot of the time, what pro contenders teams, high level teams will do is it's basically just a fight for the high ground over here. Because this is a pretty Widow dominant map, a lot of the teams put a lot of pressure over here, and it's both teams kind of fighting for this control and then capping point when they have the opportunity to. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that at the mid-diamond level. But what that does is kind of just allows your hit scan player, McCree or Widow, whatever the team happens to be playing at the time, to get a lot of map control, which is kind of what you guys are doing. I like this a lot.
Oh, my shield fell.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what both teams are doing. This is cool. Okay, it's not really what I was expecting. So this is perfectly good. We get their hit scan pick right away, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That sucks. Can't win them all.
This is still winnable.
Good job.
Fucking Vinny.
Quick point. Stay on it.
Nothing turns around a lost fight like
Alright, stop.
clicking some heads. Am I right? And then Cat has to go. But yeah, I actually really like the rollout you guys use here. This is pretty much exactly how I would want us to play it going forward.
Push, push, push.
And then because you guys are vying
They
for
were
the
all-
control over here, then he sees the opportunity, and so
Yep.
he comes up here to play the angle on the shield. Perfect. Don't mind that at all. And then I think it's just Cat gets pulled. That sucks. That sucks. I don't know. Shit happens. Shit happens. You can't win them all there. I mean, ideally you have like a shield kind of angled this way so that they can't get the easy pull. He tries to fortify in time, but they get you just before you fortify. I don't know. Shit happens. Feels main tank. But that's the rollout. Anything you want to add about Oasis, or the 2 maps of Oasis we saw? Or anything you want me to go back and talk about, or anything?
I think there was just synergizing issues.
Mhm.
We weren't alt tracking as much as we normally do.
Yeah. We weren't
We
all
did
tracking
that.
even as much as we were last night. And last night was our first thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was trying to
We
listen
were-
through to comms.
If we were able to alt track, then we could predict what they're gonna do, and then
Exactly.
instead of being like, okay, we're gonna combo this, they're
Yeah.
gonna combo this, and then we're gonna do this to stop that.
We weren't really playing this like chess. We were playing checkers. Is a neat little quote that I just made up.
I like it. Though.
Yeah, I mean, we really aren't. And I mean, I don't know. This is a lot of reasons, right? This was the last second thing. We just kind of switched in our main comp. We're probably not all warmed up. You know, it's whatever. These are just general things. What I was talking about, it's not like a direct like, I can't believe you guys weren't doing this. I mean, this is literally our second scrim, so it's all good. These are just things that I want everybody on the team to be thinking about, and kind of realizing why this map went the way it did. So. Yeah, just generally speaking, for everybody who's watching this in the future, if I ever call somebody out in these VOD reviews, I'm not like saying what you did this is wrong, because a lot of the times, you know, individual mistakes can be covered up if everybody's playing as a team. And in this case, if you're planning them, if you're making like pretty solid plans going into the fights, that's what I want to see, even if you guys are actually losing maps. As long as you guys are playing as a team, that's the first step. Is you actually making a plan and executing it together. And then if we're still losing maps, once we are successfully working as a team, then we can actually start talking about what the right decisions would have been to be able to win fights. So,
Try not to die from that.
but yeah, especially here, I mean, there's really no planning going into this. It's kind of
That diva. Back up.
all over the place. Yeah. Let's see if Vinny uploaded his thing yet.
I didn't see it yet.